Pooja, I think you're talking on mute.
Okay. Thank you everyone for whoever is watching today's session. I wanted to, okay. Our next speaker, Dr. Abhilasha Rakeshwar, brings a unique industry perspective to our conference today. And she's a business unit head, cloud security and BI at Cloud Data Technologies, and executive committee member of Women in Big Data India and Gujarat chapter leader in InfoSec Girls. And she's a Microsoft certified trainer. Her research is focused on cybersecurity, detection of DDoS attacks, and Dr. Vaz has spoken at numerous conferences and delivered cybersecurity awareness sessions to various organizations. She recognized as a top Indian woman influencer in Security 2022 and has received several awards for her contribution in the field. So today she is going to talk about data privacy essential. Will set the stage to our exploration of innovative strategies to ensure the digital future for business and customers. We are very happy to have you again on ClipCon 23 Security Conference. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Pooja, for wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. I hope my screen is visible, Pooja, or you will be adding that. Okay, now it's added, I
Yes,
guess,
yes,
right? Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. So let me know if when I'm changing my slide, it's reflecting, right? It's all set.
Yes,
Yeah, it's working. Yeah. Okay.
yes.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So thank you, Pooja. So the topic today I have is data privacy essentials, because whenever we talk and we go and meet the customers, always we heard these kind of scenarios that how we can protect the information internally. Externally there is a challenge, but how we can protect the information internally as well, and how we can protect the customers and business information as well, internally, externally. So today I will be talking about some challenges, what we can work around, and I will also be showing some demo with Microsoft Purview compliance portal. And thank you so much, Kaylee, for organizing this. And thank you, Shivani and Pooja, for inviting me once again for sharing my experience on this topic. So let's get started, everyone. So we see that India has seen a sharp increase in the number of cyber attacks. So I was reading one report from Indus Phase, and that report shows that in the first 3 months of 2023, uh, there is a sharp increase, and also over 500 million cyber attacks were blocked in Q1 2023, which is out of billion attacks globally. So we can see that data from cybersecurity firm uh, is always showing the reports that it is weekly increasing. The attacks are weekly increasing by 18% in India uh, during the same time period, as against an increase of 7% globally, that average 1,248 attacks a week. And in Asia Pacific region, if we talk about BFSI sector, uh, in India, it was the target of most of the attacks, especially insurance. If I talk about within the India insurance sector, 11% of all websites faced an attack, as against the global average of 4%. So we all know about distributed denial of service attack. So rather than DDoS attacks like ransomware, 99% of the attacks are vulnerability attacks, like probe attacks using the botnets. So data is the most valuable assets for any business. We all know that. So no matter what industry you are, it's critical to take care of your data, whether it's financial reports, healthcare records, or a startup business plan. So despite of increased data protection regulations, data breach risk are always growing, evolving, coming with new shape, new pictures. And if I say according to Capita, 80% of data breaches involve personally identifiable information at a cost of $150 per report. So you can see that how this data is used, and if it is used by malicious users, it can create a disaster results. So data breaches and privacy violations have surged, resulting in financial losses, reputational damage for the organization. So that's why this today's talk will give you a brief that how we can use certain tools to protect the data governance, management, life cycle of the data loss prevention policies, and how we can maintain the data flow inside and outside the organization. So Microsoft Purview is a powerful tool which is giving us the power to work on data governance and management. And it also helps the organization first to discover, to classify, to protect, and also to monitor the sensitive data across their digital infrastructure. So I will show you the locations where we can go, and most of the time we see that the data is available on those locations. So we can work and we can identify that which data I want to protect for my organization. uh, it's this tool which I'm taking for today's demo is part of Microsoft ecosystem, and this ensures the seamless integration with various data sources and the locations. So let's get started. So this picture which I'm showing, it's just like data leakage is there, which we want to protect. Already Pooja introduced me, so I am not going to spend much time on this. Just wanted to share with all the participants that I'm organizer of Azure User Group Vadodara as well, and we are keeping the event tomorrow morning, virtual event. So if you would like to take part in this, at the end of the session, I will be sharing my LinkedIn profile where you can find the post for joining this event, where we are sharing all the updates about the Azure. We have various speakers which are coming, and I'm part of other technical communities also where I'm sharing my knowledge. We have other uh, professionals from the various industries as well. So basically, we are working towards having more women into tech field and security field. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have something to share, or if you also want to contribute in such communities. We'll be happy to have you in our team. So first, let's start with data security. So as we discussed, clearly attackers are more interested in, take this pen. Yeah, attackers are mostly interested in personally identifiable information, which is known as PII. Most of the sectors, most of the business sector, they are mostly concerned about PII. So other industries, which include the SaaS, manufacturing, are more targeted with the DDoS attacks. So possibly application available is a bigger challenge for these sectors. And also compute power is also extremely cheap to hire, and this makes launching DDoS attack extremely easy when we talk about that how these big sophisticated attacks are planned, because in these kind of attacks large number of machines are involved. So data security or information security, these are including the practices, policies, and principles to protect digital data and any other kind of information which we have in the organization. And data security is based on three basic principles, that is confidentiality, integrity, and the availability. And this is known as CIA triad. So those who have started their security journey or those who are into security, they know the power of the CIA triad. So confidentiality involves preventing unauthorized access to sensitive data and to keep it from reaching the wrong people. And also protecting the confidentiality, organizations should implement the security measures like the access control list, role-based access control, the principle of privilege access, where we are talking about the least privilege access. We talk about encryption, we talk about two-factor authentication, we talk about strong passwords, we talk about configuration management, we talk about monitoring, alerting. So all these things will come in the confidentiality of the CIA tribe. When we talk about integrity, so integrity is all about protecting your data from improper data erasure or modification. So one way to ensure integrity is to use digital signatures to verify the content authenticity and also the secure transactions, which is widely used by governments and a healthcare organization. Also, whenever we are accessing any website or we are going to there, we can also check that what is the certifying authority. Let's say if we are doing any transaction, we can also go and check that. So when we will be seeing the demo, I will show you that how you can check for the certifications and certifying authority for that specific website. The third important pointer that comes is availability. So this availability requires ensuring the security controls, computer systems, softwares, all should work properly, and also they should ensure that services and information systems are available whenever they are needed. So that's called as availability. Like for example, if you talk about the financial database, that must be available in order for your accountant to send, pay, or process the information. It should not that when you need that information is not available. So these three makes ensure the data is secure. So the question which comes is that why this topic is and why always we are talking about that organization needs to focus on data security. So companies, if we want to understand that why organizations are focusing on data security, so we can categorize the company's data in two categories, which they want to protect. So the first is business critical data, and the another one is, I think I have taken the pen, yeah, and the second is the private information. So business critical data, it comprises the data assets which needed to operate and sustain your company. Like for example, it includes financial plan, your digital designs, your plant designs, your inventory, your intellectual properties, any trade secret which you have. So that all comprise the business critical data. And the another thing, another category which we have is private information. So this includes employee, HR, payroll data, customer profile, contracts with suppliers, personal medical things. So all those stuff come in the uh, another category, that is private information. So any strong cybersecurity strategy provides the differentiated protection of the company's information assets, and that gives the most important data the highest degree of protection. And that is very, very important for the organizations to understand that which data needs what kind of protection strategy, which policy needs to be implemented. Otherwise, you will be uh, it's going to be a waste because one size is not going to fit to all. So we should be having a different strategy for protecting your business critical data. You should be having a different strategy for your private information. Plus, inside the business critical data as well, you should be having policies to make sure that the data which you have is having the right settings and right policies to identify the misuse and unauthorized access. So the major challenge which organization is facing is that data is exploding. So you see that data is coming from the various sources which are shown on this slide. We talk about private cloud, we talk about remote locations, we talk about structured data, corporate data, records, emails, documents, vendors, platforms. So there are a lot of resources from which data is coming. It's created, stored, and shared anywhere. So in if we talk about the little statistics, so IDC estimates that in 2025, the world will create and replicate 163 zettabytes of data, and that represent a tenfold increase from the amount of data which is created in 2016. So you can see the amount of data which is exploding, and not only is the amount is growing, but the type of data that is continue to evolve. So right now when we are in the session, we are again creating a lot of data. We are sending messages, we are attending this session on LinkedIn, we are posting on Insta, we are posting WhatsApp, we are posting. So it's not that the amount is generated, but the type of data is also continue to evolve and explode. So organizations primarily deal initially with the documents and emails. Now they are also dealing with instant messages, text messages, video files. So just wanted to say that the type of data is also changed. number of data and the type of data both are changed, and many organizations are struggling that how they can manage and work on the data overload, what kind of strategies they can manage or process to work on the data overload, and also the variety of devices on which it is created, because earlier we used to have an office machine on which we used to work, but now thanks to bring your own devices, everybody is using the device, and they can access their office emails, they can access their applications on their device itself. So the major challenge is to manage the security of the data, not only in terms of amount but in terms of type of the data and also the devices which are generating that data. When we say about the protection of the data, always it comes in the mind that we can go with the regulation, we have a lot of compliance to follow, but that's also a major challenge because regulations is increasing. So we have PII, PIPEDA, we have CCPA, we have HIPAA, we have GDPR. So a lot of regulations are there to manage and work. So organizations must comply with certain regulations based on the data they are using. So the previous session was on the compliance itself. So maintenance and protection of personal data is one area where there has been a lot of focus. So PII is in the focus, and the cost is not complying with privacy regulations like GDPR. And if companies are not following that, it can result in the fine as well. So withdraw of licenses for the company, again the reputation will be there, so it will be going to lower the credibility, and that will again impact the business. So data regulations are increasing, so that is also important for the organization to understand that based on the data what all regulations they need to comply. Is there any way I can find out that I am following the compliance, I am following all the recommendations which are coming from the various policy which I have to comply with? So that is also a biggest challenge for the organizations to work on when they are talking about the data security, how they are managing the data, how they are storing the data, and how they are processing the data. So if we can understand about smaller steps, so 88% of organizations no longer have confidence to detect and prevent loss of sensitive data, because many organizations are struggling with managing their data. So most of the organization do not have information to understand the type of risk they face or they will face. So protecting data has become more challenging as people work in new ways, as we discussed earlier as well, and that include creating and sharing data across the organizational and regional boundaries. So discovering and managing data is also a challenge, that what all locations I need to cover when I want to discover or manage the data. So customer now need to protect the sensitive data on devices, SaaS applications, cloud services, and also in addition to the on-prem environment. So, and also if you're talking about the cloud services, what all services you are needing, if you work on the multi-cloud, then you have to check for the multi-cloud environment as well. So your risk profile is likely to increase without, if I say without an information protection. And also we have to see that we have to have a governance strategy as well to manage that. So 80% of the corporate is dark, and this data is dark because it's not classified or protected or governed. So I can say that more than 80% of corporate data is dark, because that the challenge is they are not able to discover the data, that this data is confidential, this data is not to share in the public, this is sensitive data. Excuse me. So that's why that data is dark, because it's not classified, it's not protected, it's not governed. So the challenge is protecting and governing sensitive data is the biggest concern in complying with the regulations, because you have to understand that which data I need to protect so that I can work on the policies, I can generate the alerts so that I can manage automatically all kind of activities which are happening. So let's go to the next slide to understand that what are the major challenges. So the first challenge when we talk about data security is data breaches. So there are a lot of things which comes under the data breaches, but in today's talk I will be talking about these four major categories. So data breach, if we talk about, is a security event when any critical data is accessed by or disclosed to unauthorized viewers. So it can happen because of cyber attacks in which hackers bypass your security technologies and get into your important software or your security platform, your identity. So they enter into your area by bypassing the security technology or the security setting which you have implemented. Or maybe it can be a theft or loss of devices. Maybe the devices are containing protected information, and yes, it can happen because from mobile itself or from the portable devices itself, we are also accessing the organization applications and data. If we are not having a proper access policy for devices, it can happen. So, and the third point is human errors. So, human errors are, like I can say that, accidentally, if you are sending any sensitive data. So, if you are working on project 1 and project 2 team is asking some data, I'll be sharing it because I'm sharing inside the company. But policy is saying that you should not be sending the sensitive data. Who is going to control this share? Because this is accident. It's not intentionally planned to harm something. It's shared. So that is also a chance where the data breaches is there, and also data theft by employees, like internal users, contractors, partners. They can also use it. So data breaches can have a significant financial impact, and it can also interrupt business operations, which can hurt company revenue. Also, a breach can also involve legal cost, and if it involves the violation of compliance or industry mandate, the regulatory body can also impose fine or other consequences also the organization has to follow. So with all these things, cost is there, but the important aspect is organization is going to suffer the reputation and the customer trust. So that is more damage in terms of the cost which I considered. So because customer is coming to the organization because of the trust, but because of these breaches, the things are in a different shape. So data breaches are important, and if I'll show you some kind of incidents which are happening. So 50 government websites hacked, 8 data breaches in 2022. You can check the news and you see that everywhere such kind of attacks are coming, such kind of news is coming. So Telegram channel leaks data of 12,000 SBI employees. India witnessed 13.9 lakh cybersecurity incidents in 2022 government. So all these incidents are there. And as we discussed, then comes the compliance, which we talk about. So compliance requirement also drive data security because this tells us that if you are using this type of data, you have to go with these recommendations for maintaining your data. If you have B type of data, you have these recommendations to work on your data. So based on that, we will be following because uh, data privacy regulations like European GDPR and the CCPA, this strictly regulate that how companies collect, store, and use PII. So compliance failure, I'll just tell you that can be very, very expensive. So for if we talk about GDPR fine, it was around 20 million euros or 4% of a company's global annual turnover. So you can understand that if you want to implement such things, it is very important to understand that if you are not following it, what kind of consequences will be there. In addition, the authorities can also issue the warnings, and also in extreme cases, they can ban the organization also from processing the personal data. So that can also be a huge loss to the organization. So it is very, very important to meet the compliance requirement and to plan a successful data security strategy, and also checking the boxes that you can see also in this GIF. you have to check all the boxes which are coming as a recommendation in the compliance, which we need to follow. Because regulations typically focus on specific aspect of data security, like data privacy or any real world security threats will involve, and also protecting the sensitive data. So it should be viewed as a long term and ongoing commitment. So whatever steps you are taking, you have to follow the recommendations which are coming in the regulations. So when we talk about data security, one topic which is very close to me, that is cloud security. Most of the data is now accessed and work with cloud only. So, and thanks to COVID-19, because when the pandemic began, cloud adoption has soared. Like, organization needed to create options to enable employees to work from home. And suddenly cloud data security was at everyone's radar. Earlier data protection strategies generally focusing on keeping malicious intruders out of the systems where sensitive data is stored. But now, with cloud computing, data is stored in systems that are outside the traditional perimeter and can flow freely everywhere. So, therefore, organizations are needing a data centric security strategy which prioritize that which is the most sensitive information and what kind of settings I need, what kind of alert or policies I need. So, security risk in the cloud, we can manage security risk if we have a proper option. So, 54% of organizations think that their employees share data using the approved means of communication only. 38% of organizations that employ remote workers have suffered cloud data security breaches. Only 8% of organizations, this is important to see, only 8% of organizations say they can spot unauthorized data sharing in minutes. 62% say detection takes days, and 23% says it takes weeks. So you can see the scenario. They are taking this much of time in identification of unauthorized access of data. 90% of IT professionals believe that remote workers are not secure. And over 70% think that remote staff pose a greater risk than on-site employees. So you can see that the challenges are there, but how we can overcome these challenges. So what should be a good way to build a solid security strategy? So let's talk a little bit on that. So organization do not need to build a data protection strategy from scratch, because what they can use is they can use and they can take the advantages of established tool like NIST cybersecurity framework, which can help organizations to understand their security risk. They can understand prioritization of the security risk and efforts, and also they can measure the ROI for their security investment. So they can use the existing frameworks as well instead of starting a new strategy from the scratch. So if we talk about NIST framework, it comprises identify first. So identify means you should understand and document the cybersecurity risk to your system, people, assets, data, and capabilities. The second major function is protect. So implement appropriate security controls and other measures to protect your most critical assets against cyber threats, and then detect. So ensure that you can quickly spot actions and also uh, the events that could pose a risk to your data security. You should be able to respond uh, with the help of the tested procedures, and you should be ready to enable prompt response to cybersecurity incidents. So identify, protect, detect, respond, and then you should also be able to recover. You should also implement strategies for ensuring that you can quickly restore data and also services which are impacted by a security incident. So for understanding a good way to build a solid data security strategy, you can go for framework like NIST to understand it, and you can follow certain steps which I just would like to share with you. understand your data landscape, and identify important data across your hybrid environment. So the first and important point is know your data. So Microsoft approach for information protection and governance is basically centered around these four principles only. The first principle is know your data. So this will help us in understanding that what kind of data landscape you have and how you can identify data across the environment. It comes the on-prem, it comes the cloud. Then you should protect your data. You should apply the flexible protections. This is the second uh, principle, I can say that. This apply the flexible protection actions, including encryption, access restrictions, and visual marking. So you are encrypting the information wherever needed. Let's say data is it in rest, you can use the encryption policies. You can apply the access restrictions. So you can see that based on the rules you should be giving, you can restrict the access which you are giving to the users. And also you can have visual marking to your data that you can label like it's a confidential, it's a sensitive. Excuse me. Yeah. So you can have a visual marking also for the data. That is also an important step and the principle in this approach. The third approach is prevent the data loss. So detect the risky behaviors. If you know that which data you want to protect, now you can prevent the data loss as well. And also prevent the accidental oversharing of sensitive information. So I have prepared a demo with this point where we talk about prevent data loss. So I will share that how accidentally when we are sharing the information, the policies which we are creating is going to ping the users that you are using a confidential information and you are sharing it. So it will be blocked for the other user. So that I will be going to show you in the demo. And then once you have understanding of the data, you're protecting your information, you are preventing the data loss, then you have to govern your information. You will not be keeping data for a longer period of time. You have to understand that which data I want to keep for how much duration. I want to keep it for 1 year, 2 year, I want to keep it for longer period of time. So that also you have to understand by using the governance policies which are available. So automatically retain, delete, store data and records in a compliant manner. So a unified policy configuration and management experience for information technology is important. So we can also need a dashboard where we can get all the information, what kind of data I have, which location that data is residing, if the data is coming under the policy or not. So I will show you with the help of Purview compliance portal that how we can understand the entire data landscape for the organization. And I was talking about the locations as well. Protect and govern the data wherever it lives. So the first is on-prem. Definitely, we want to see the data which we have. We also want to see the Office applications across the platforms. We also want to understand the SharePoint sites, Teams, Office 365 groups. I want to see that what kind of data is shared, how the communication is happening, Exchange online, SharePoint online, what documents I want to share, what sites I want to share, Power BI, whatever data you have, and also the non-Microsoft cloud and applications which are in your organization's infrastructure which your employees is using. So I want to protect the data and I want to govern the data wherever location it is. So information protection needs to be understand that how I can manage and how I can work on that. So what all technologies help with data protection? So modern data security methods involve the implementation of uh, the set of protective measures like we talk about NIST and any other framework which we can use. So these framework provide a detailed catalog of controls for defending against threats. But few top technologies I would like to share with you, which you can follow to protect your business data, your organization data. So first is data discovery and classification. So data discovery and classification, this technology, if we say, it scans data repositories, reports on the findings. So what you can do is you can avoid storing the sensitive data in the unsecured location where it is more likely to be compromised. So I can do this with the help of data discovery. If we talk about data classification, so it is a process of labeling the sensitive data with tags. So what help we will be having is that we can protect data in accordance with its value or applicable regulatory requirements. So that I can manage with the help of data classification. If we talk about data encryption, so this is coming with encoding the critical information and it make it more unreadable or useless for malicious attacker, because if they want to use it they need to have a decryption key. So software based data encryption we can use uh, or for securing the digital data, or we can use hardware based encryption as well. And also we can have a dedicated processor for encryption and decryption for safeguarding the sensitive data on a portable device like USB or laptop, and also dynamic data masking. So this is a security technique which involves a real-time masking of sensitive data to prevent exposure to non-privileged users while not changing the original data. So we all know that we are getting the credit card or bank detail in which the last four digits are always coming with this XXS or income tax return report, whatever things you are getting, where you have some confidential data or confidential number. Last digits are always coming with cross because these are masked. The other numbers are always available because these are the public numbers or these are common for the most of the cases. So the remaining digits which is uniquely identifying your number are masked with certain characters. So you will be only showing or exposing the information which can be publicly shared. uh, Also the user and entity behavior analytics, that is also important. So this is designed to spot the deviations from the normal activity, and this could indicate a threat. So whatever user activities are happening and having a deviation, that can also detect it. Also the change management and auditing. So any improper change of IT systems, whether it's accidental or malicious, it can also lead to downtime and breaches. And also establishing a formal change management procedure, auditing the actual changes which are happening. This can also help you in understanding the misconfigurations which are happening in the organization. The next technology is very important when we talk about the security of data, that is identity and access management. So this particular technology help the organizations manage both the regular and privilege accounts, and also it IAM helps in managing the internal users and also the external users also, which you are inviting for a certain period of time to work on your information, and also you can control the access which you are giving to the users. And then the technology which we have is backup and recovery, because we talk about the uh, recovering from the state, maybe after the security incident, how you're going to come back into your shape. So organizations always need to be able to restore the data and also operations promptly, whether a user has accidentally deleted maybe a single file, that is we need urgently. So we should be having some backup or recovery mechanism. So we need to strengthen the data, because strengthening data security is very, very critical for business and organization in today's landscape. So it involves implementing robust measures, practices to protect sensitive information, mitigate the risk, and also ensure the data integrity. And by doing so, we can say that organizations can enhance trust with customers, they can comply with regulations, and also they can safeguard their reputation. So strong data security measures are required. And I can just would like to say that we have to identify data security risk. We have to effectively work on this, because data security begins with identifying the potential risk and vulnerabilities within your organizational system and also the processes. And the regular risk assessments which we are doing, it helps us in uncovering the weak points and areas where improvements are needed, and this ensures protective approach to data protection. Then we need to understand the server inventory. So we have to maintain a comprehensive inventory of servers and data storage. This is critical. This is crucial because it enables you to keep track of where your data resides, simplify data management, simplify your access control, and also the vulnerability management. The third point is understanding that the nature of your data and also its sensitivity, its criticality. So that is a fundamental thing for understanding your data. This knowledge is going to allow you to tailor security measures to the specific needs of different data types. So S size will get S t-shirt, M size will get M t-shirt. So you have to understand your data when you want to implement the security aspect. So next point which we have for, that is establishing and maintaining least privilege model. So this talks that we have to ensure that the individuals and systems have only minimum level of access that is necessary to perform their task, not less than, not more than. And this is going to reduce the chance of unauthorized access and data exposure, and also it enhances the overall security as well. And always stay on top of suspicious activities. So continuous monitoring of network and system activity is very, very essential for early detection of suspicious behavior, real-time alerts, analysis. So all those stuffs are very, very important. So we have to stay on top of suspicious activity. So let me show you a little bit about the portal, that what all things we can do with the Purview portal. Let me bring you to the portal screen. Yep. Okay, so that's coming on the screen. So if you see, this is a Microsoft Purview compliance portal. Here, if you see, there are a lot of tabs which are coming in the left hand side, which you can see. If I go to home, I can see that Purview compliance portal is available where we can manage the compliance needs using the integrated solutions. And this is going to help protecting the sensitive information, also managing the data lifecycle. This also reduce the insider risk. So if I would like to say that in this particular Microsoft Purview compliance portal, I have things to manage. I have sensitive information under my control. I can identify where my data is. I can also understand that what all things I have which is detected. If you see all these pointers which are coming, so if we go and check the data classification, I will show you the overview which is coming over here. It will show me the sensitive information types which are used most in the content which you have in your environment. I haven't created any sensitive label, so it's not showing that. But for all your activities which you are doing, I can identify the sensitive labels which I'm applying for my data, and I can identify that. I can also go and check the activities which are happening with that in particular information, which I would like to identify. So this is going to review the activities which are related to contents which have sensitive information or having labels which we have applied. So it will detect those activities and it will show you the list. I have created one sensitive information type for this demo, and also I've created a policy because it takes some time to implement that policy. It's taking some time in identification. Okay, we'll come back to this place, but it is showing that it is going to monitor across the Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive, endpoint devices, wherever locations we discuss, it is going to show that. And if you see the activities which is it showing, so one DLP rule matched. So it is showing that on 28th September, one rule is matched. So one document is created, where it is located, every information I can get from this particular space. So if you see activity DLP rule matched, data loss prevention rule which I have created, the file is test file 1. The sensitive information type is also mentioned. The policy is mentioned. Is this policy is enabled or test on, that also it is showing. Rules, actions. So what action I have specified in that policy, it is showing that block access, notify user, generate alert, and also generate incident report. So that is also coming over here. I can see the location. So entire information which I want to see about my sensitive information which I have created, I can view from this particular place. I can view from this particular activity explorer. So all the activities which are happening for my sensitive information type which I have created, I can identify. If I want to see the contents where they are residing, I can see from this particular content explorer as well. So it will show me that in which email or docs it contains the sensitive information, or it contains the labels which I have applied for. So I can go and I can check even again which user, which location, which email, which doc is talk about this particular information. I can identify and I can check that information. So let me show you the policies which we can create. So if you see, we can work on the data loss prevention policy, because as we talk about data privacy. So in that, we also have to see that where and how this information is shared. So here I can show you that how we can protect the sensitive information. We can get the overview of all the information, policies, what all activities are happening, where these activities are happening. Any device is also added, I can check that. And I can see the effect of the policy which I have created. And these are the policies which are already available. We can create our own policies as well. So before moving ahead, let me show you the information type which I have created. So in this information type, I have created the SIP for Kelly. So I have created this, and if I would like to edit this, so I will just wanted to show you. We simply have to create this type, and if we are creating this type, we have to show that which pattern is containing the primary element which we want to identify in the documents which we have. So I have given a pattern where I have given a primary element list. So I just wanted to show you that as well. I will just edit this. So if you see, I have a keyword list which I have given, because in my organization, I think that these are the three words which are confidential. I don't want others to sharing it in the teams or in the documents anywhere. So I have created this list. Now wherever these words are coming, I can make it case sensitive, I can make it case insensitive. So if you see, both the options are available. I'm making it case insensitive in any way. If anybody is using these words, AAA 1234, double AB 3456, I want to identify that information, and that can be done. And I want to check anywhere in the document, all those stuff I can mention in that. And with the help of this, all these settings, my sensitive information type will be created. So let me go back to this. I can test the sensitive information type as well, that what all things I would like to upload in this. So I can upload the documents as well, and I can see that what all information is coming in the information. So let me show you that. We have this list. I will show you that document as well. So if you would like to see this document, I will show you this document. So if you see this document, it's nothing but the list of the words. So here AAA1234, which I think is confidential to my organization. I just wanted to test that the information type which I have created is correct or not. And this particular information type is able to identify that we have unique matches and how many unique matches we have, a confidence level of those unique matches. So all those information I will be getting from this SIT. So it means I'm very confident that I'll be able to identify the information which I have in my organization with this particular sensitive information. I can use this SIT for creating the policies. I've already created one policy because it takes up to 24 hours to implement. So I've already created one policy for today's demo. That is Scale custom policy. I would like to show you this policy, what this policy is about. So if you see in this, the status is on, and also it is giving me the description. So this is just created for demo, and the locations which it covers, as I mentioned in this slide as well. So Exchange email, SharePoint sites, OneDrive accounts, Team chats, devices, Defender for cloud application, all the locations are covered in that. I haven't covered the on-prem, but you can cover the on-prem as well. So I can see the effect of this policy from the Activity Explorer, as I've shared earlier as well, that the rule is matched. Now let me show you the test file. If from my file, I have this test file. Let me open this test file for you all. So in this test file, I just have these two words which are confidential. And if it comes under the policy, because these are the sensitive information type, I should be getting a policy tip. So here it is the policy tip that this item is protected by a policy in your organization. What all things it talks about? So policy tip for test file doc 1. This item is protected by a policy in your organization. Who is owner of this particular file is able to see this, but other people will not be able to access this. The entire document will be blocked for the other users. I have created this policy. Also, let's say if you would like to share it in the Teams, so I have just created a Teams message. So you can see that this message is blocked. If any other user from this particular Teams, this Teams is for the admin only, the demo account which I have created. So you can see that when I'm posting this particular message, maybe in the heading or in the message, if you are posting anything, it comes as a block. It will take some time, but then it will detect in seconds that this particular message will not be shareable with others. It will be blocked like this. So this message will be blocked. Your message has been blocked. This message will not be shared as a post with any other user because this is coming under policy. So what I can do with this, your message was blocked due to organization policy. So here it is a power in your hand. You can use such tools to control what is shared in your organization inside and outside at any location, anywhere. So we can take the help of such policies, we can take the help of some alerts, and we can protect the entire landscape of the data. So we should be understanding that how we can prevent such things. And also the audit reports, all those stuff we can understand from this, and we can work on the information. So that's it for today's session which I have prepared. But it's important to understand the data which we are using is we should be securing it by using the various methods which we have seen, using the access policies, using the controls. So I think that's it from my side. So Pooja, over to you. And I think I would like to share one last slide also, where I would like to show you I don't have the link created for the LinkedIn account. But okay, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can look for Dr. Abhilasha Rakesh Vyas, and you will be able to reach out the LinkedIn profile, and I'll be happy to help you in your learning journey. So that's it from my side. Pooja, it's over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Uh, Yeah, it was actually a very great session because I can see that we have a lot of questions here. Like whenever we talk about cybersecurity, the main essential part comes to the data. Like how are you protecting your data and what is the essential part you will take? Because data is like the client customer data, like how we protect and what are the tools we are using. And the Microsoft Purview was very good actually. The demo was also very good, ma'am. We actually, I mean, in this time, still we have these questions. So I'll just go with one by one question. So one question is, will the SOC team be able to defend against the cloud-based cyber attacks?
Yeah, so SOC team is different these, but it largely depends on the several factors like the expertise, resources, and the security measures which you are using, like how you are using the threat intelligence, how you are creating your incident response plan, how you are automating and orchestrating the entire things like your workloads, your protection alerts. And yes, definitely you will be able to identify the attacks as well in the environment.
Okay. Next question is from Neeraj Sharma. Is cloud platform a secure place uh, to save our personal data? If no, then please provide the alternate.
So it's very, very secure, Neeraj, because I've shown you that policies are available. We have to understand that what all policies CSP is providing. So based on that, if we are going to work on those policies, it will be easy to make our data secure in the cloud environment. So cloud is giving us a lot of security, like in terms of access control, in terms of access which we are giving. So that's important. Like I think that personal data is safe in the cloud if you know how to make the data secure in cloud.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. It was a great session, amazing session actually. I really liked it. I know the audience also
Thank you.
liked it. And if any questions, do you have any questions, guys, you wanna connect with ma'am, you can connect on social media. Like we already tagged in our social platform. You can check if you have any questions to Abhilasha, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much for having us this time also. It was a great session. Thank you so much. And good night, ma'am. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everyone. And thank you, audience. I'm looking forward to your connection request on LinkedIn. Thank you. Thank you, Pooja.
Yes.
Bye. Take care.
Okay. So bye. Bye, ma'am. Bye.